Okay, so we actually are adding a tariff. Trump puts extra 100% tariff on China. We just again like I feel crazy saying this, but like it's illegal. The president can't put tariffs on his own. That's Congress. Congress has just completely ceded the power. The president can only do it in times of emergency. He's emergency powers in this regard. There's no emergency. Just on all imports, a new tariff of 100% on imports from China, quote, over and above any tariff they're currently paying starting on November 1st. Trump also said the U.S. on that same date would impose export controls on, quote, any and all critical software. Okay. Well, all right. It has just been learned that China has taken an extraordinary... You can't have to a Trump voice. You have to either not do it or do it. Do I want to do it? It has just been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position in trade in sending an extremely hostile letter to the world. Do I want to do it? I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. No, please stop. You can't tell me what to do. Stating that they were going to, effective November 1st, 2025, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries, without exception, and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. Now I'm going to stop. Based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the USA and not other nations who are similarly threatened, starting November 1st, or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the US of A will impose a tariff of 100% on China over and above any tariff they are currently paying. Also on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The other post he made about China was unhinged. How many has he made today? Oh my fucking God. This was this morning? He's outflanking the left. Some very strange things are happening in China. They are becoming very hostile and sending letters to countries throughout the world that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. Nobody has ever seen anything like this, but essentially it would clog the markets and make life difficult for virtually every country in the world, especially for China. We have been contacted by other countries who are extremely angry at this great trade hostility which came out of nowhere. Our relationship with China over the past 6 months has been a very good one. Your Trump voice is terrible. Oh, Dennis the Peasant, I remember your name. Wrong way to reintroduce yourself. Next time, what you wanted to say was, your Trump voice is excellent, sir. Here's a tier 1 subscription. Type shit. Thereby making this move on trade an even more surprising one. I have always felt that they've been lying in wait, and now, as usual, I have been proving right. There is no way China should be allowed to hold the world captive, but that seems to have been their plan for quite some time, starting with the magnets and other elements that they have quietly amassed into something of a monopoly position, a rather sinister and hostile move, to say the least. But the US has monopoly positions also, much stronger and more far-reaching than China's. I have just not chosen to use them. There was never a reason for me to do so until now. The letter they sent is many pages long and details with great specificity each and every element that they want to withhold from the other nations. Things that were routine are no longer routine at all. I have not spoken to President Xi because there was no reason to do so. This was a real surprise not only to me but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems to be no reason to do so. The Chinese letters were especially inappropriate in that this was the day that, after 3,000 years of bedlam and fighting, there is peace in the Middle East. I wonder if that timing was coincidental. Depending on what China says about the hostile order that they have just put out, I'll be forced as president of the United States of America to finally counter their move. For every element they've been able to monopolize, we have 2. No, we do not. I never thought it would come to this, but perhaps with all things, the time has come. Ultimately, though potentially peaceful, it will be a very good thing in the end for the US of A. One of the policies that we are calculating is very much increase in tariffs to Chinese products, USA. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. This self-sabotage, hegemonic suicide shit is offensive to the millennia of imperialist accomplishments. That's true, 100%. Yeah, the great like 19th century, robber baron types are looking on from hell in disgust. The market reaction to this, yeah, the market reaction to China restricting rare earth mineral exports and America imposing 100% additional tariff, that's not nothing. Let's go! The red wave MAGA actually wanted. That's true. Well, we'll see how it pans out. I'd be very surprised if these tariffs actually end up being implemented because they would be ruinous to the economy on top of the rare earth mineral restrictions. I don't know enough about the actual like processing and economics of making chips. I don't know exactly what we rely on or how much our dependence on China can be transferred to other countries, but it seems like this is one of those things that's going to be adjusted with time. You know? Funny stuff, though. What happened to the Ukrainian minerals? Well, they're still fighting a war over there, you know? How the AI bubble is being created per Bloomberg. What was the Wojak response to this or whatever? Or was it the troll face? Be me. Start new micronation. I have $100. I pay you $100 to stare at me. You pay me the $100 back to stare at you. Repeat back and forth. Next year, we have the highest GDP per capita of any nation in history. It all feeds into itself. I saw another tweet. I always say when I'm getting my insights just from a tweet, and that's what transparency looks like, but it's quite salient and fitting because I live in Seattle, that the fact that the biggest company in the world right now by evaluation, NVIDIA, is getting wealthy selling computer chips during an AI bubble is like how the people who made the most money during the gold rush were the ones selling picks and shovels. Yeah, NVIDIA versus the entire pharmaceutical industry. Meanwhile, the average person's engagement with the pharmaceutical industry is a significant portion of their, year-to-year salary, and the average person's engagement with NVIDIA is once every 4 years they begrudgingly buy a pre-made PC that has one of their, GPUs stuffed in there. Hmm. 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 Why would I buy a pre-built? Because I said average person. I built my own PC. That's why it looks like that, and why it only has 32 gigs of RAM, even though it's got space for 64, because it wouldn't turn on. And then I took out, I took out some of the RAM sticks, and then it worked. And I never put any new ones back in. He's scared to touch it. That's how tech works past a certain point, okay? Just an interesting thing, NVIDIA has more market cap than the entire GDP of Germany. I really, really do hope that more people over time, like that this bubble convinces more people of the worthlessness of the stock market, GDP per capita, and all these other economic indicators. We need to start really doubling down on like getting economists to provide and rely on real useful indicators. It does not make sense that the average GDP per capita in fucking Mississippi is higher than that in Germany or Britain or whatever, when people in Germany and Britain have a robust, wide range of access to amenities, public services, government subsidies and guarantees where their baseline is provided for. And then in like Mississippi, it's like, people can't pay their car or medical bills, but they have 2 nice cars or something. That's just, there's so... it's so inefficient. I don't know. We're not looking at useful data. Yeah, the economy is what I can hold in my own hands, okay? If I can't dip my balls in it physically, then it's not real in an economic sense. It's kind of by design. Yeah, of course it is, but still, Stone Age economist? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. NVIDIA just gave $100 billion to OpenAI, and they're using it to buy AMD GPUs. Well, hey, any money that goes to OpenAI goes in part to America, right? Same with AMD? No, just AMD. Sorry, AMD and Intel. Let's go. As Furman notes, investments in information processing equipment and software was only 4% of U.S. GDP for the first half of 2025, yet it also accounted for fully 92% of GDP growth over this area. Ah! Ooh. When you're not in a bubble.